All right. I have a very different and a very special guest today on Serious and Silliness. I have Alexis Golden, an adult entertainment star. How are you?
Hey, John. Hey, everybody. Nice to be here. Thank you so much for having me on.
Oh, thank you for accepting the invitation. I really appreciate it.
hmm
So I'm just going to dive right into it. And I just want to know who Alexis Golden was when she was young. What was your childhood like? Where you from? So on and so forth.
yeah, so I'm a good Catholic schoolgirl.
Uh, okay.
Yeah, I was definitely raised in a very religious Catholic household. So
hmm
I don't know what that says for you. Um,
Oh, I went to Catholic school too. Don't worry about it.
yeah, I was really bad. I was that girl with the short uniform and
I know exactly what you're talking about.
doing all sorts of naughty things when I was a teenager. So
Mm,
I've always been super sexual, and I think
okay.
that I don't know, um, just part of who I am. And some people embrace those things that make them unique, and other people don't. And this just happens to be part of who I am.
What
Mhm.
part of the country did you grow up in?
So I grew up in upstate New York, in Albany.
Oh, okay. You're not far at all. Oh, okay.
Mhm.
All
But
right.
now I'm in Miami, as indicated by my tan.
Very nice.
Uh,
Very nice. Okay. A lot of people are moving to Florida. I had a guy I was on the phone with him today. A guy I grew up with moved to right outside Boca. I forgot what part, but he ran
West
there.
Palm, probably.
Yeah, something like that. I forgot the name of the
Mhm.
town, whatever. I'm not familiar with Florida too much.
Yeah.
But so how did you wind up breaking into the industry?
I actually got started kind of late, compared to most girls in the industry.
hmm
So I guess I was probably 38 or 39. Uh,
Really?
yeah.
Okay.
And fortunate for me, the MILF genre is definitely one of its,
Huge.
I think it's like either two or three top grossing genres in adult entertainment.
Okay.
So I was really embraced the second that I came on the scene, and I never, my age really was never an issue at all.
Okay, that's good. But how did you break into it? Did somebody discover you, or did you how did
I was just being me. So my husband and I were swingers,
hmm
and as swingers often do, they're always constantly taking out their cameras and recording themselves. So, we were just constantly filming.
hmm
And one day we were at a swingers event, and there was a couple there who owned one of the initial webcam businesses. And she was like, "Oh my gosh, you would be great. You should start your own site."
hmm
And um, so at the time, I owned a consulting company. And I was like, "Well, I really don't think that's probably a good idea for me."
What kind of consulting company?
Business consulting.
Okay.
Yeah. And so I work with Fortune 100 companies. I'm very visible, or was very visible.
Right, right.
Um, but I just decided, that it was something that I really wanted to explore.
hmm
And I'm always interested in generating multiple revenue streams. So that was enticing to me as well. And as a
hmm
businesswoman, I can see the numbers and how they add up.
Sure.
Um, and so I just kind of stuck my toes in just to see how it would go. And before you knew it, it took off. I flew to LA, filmed with a bunch of large companies, Brazzers, Naughty America,
hmm
Playboy, Hustler.
hmm
The list goes on and on. And I just enjoy it. I really do. I'm not, it's a way for me to express myself and express my
hmm
sexuality.
Okay.
And I really like the fact that even couples can watch my videos together. And I often get messages from them saying, "Wow, you've really helped my marriage," or "You
That's
really helped
good.
my
That's good.
relationship."
Yeah.
So
So you embraced it immediately.
sure, absolutely.
Okay. Do most girls embrace it immediately? Because you hear a lot of girls kind of go in, go out. I don't want to do that anymore, so on and so forth. And then they inevitably go back. I mean, I'm only going on the ones that have broken into like mainstream, like who was the one that's going back and forth recently, Khalifa or whatever her name is, or whatever. There's one that she kind of broke into the mainstream. She left the industry, and then she said that she didn't make much money. She only made like $12,000, and then she went back and jumped back in, and so on and so forth. Do most girls embrace it, or do most girls struggle with it?
I think it depends on the girl. The women that are most successful and have long careers in the industry are typically those girls who have business sense. They run their own sites, they own their own material, they don't rely solely on shooting for the big production companies.
Okay.
And so I guess it really, it's probably more about that type of person than it is anything else.
Okay. Have you seen that much though, when girls like go in and out and struggle with it, or you have not witnessed that much?
Well, I mean, of course, you always see people come and go, and there's a lot of people in the industry, so I'm not really sure what everybody's reasons are.
Oh, I see. Okay.
I'm sure that, it could be anything really, just like with a job that you may like or you may not like.
Okay. All right. So you said earlier that you didn't get started in the industry till you were about 38 or so, and you were pretty much welcomed with open arms because of the MILF genre. Have you noticed any age discrimination? Are young girls more welcome, or it doesn't matter at this point? Like
it doesn't really matter at this point. I think that the industry has really shifted in that direction. So of course there's always going to be demand for young girls and teens and shooting teens, because that's a genre that people are really interested in. And now there's this great avenue for MILFs, and that's really blown up.
Seems like there's an avenue for everything. I mean, yeah, I'm not lying. I remember back in the day, I was a big fan of Carmela Bing. And then all of a sudden I saw her on a BBW site, and I was like, why, how'd she get so fat? But it didn't matter. She's just BBW. I got fat. That's fine. So, well, it was like, when life gives you lemons, I guess you make lemonade, right? So it seems like there's a, especially now with the internet and websites and social media, there's kind of a facet for every single kind of fetish, if you will.
Absolutely. Yes. So Carmela had a baby, and that's why she gained weight.
Oh, is that what happened? Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. But yeah, you can go on clips for sale, and basically there's a clip for anything you can possibly think of. Fetishes for people who like to have balloons popped, or bubble gum, or girls shaving their legs, or I mean, literally every possible thing. If you can think it, there's a clip for sale site for it.
You know what's really funny that you actually said that, because I interviewed King Kamali last night. King Kamali was an elite bodybuilder in the late 90s, early 2000s. Now he's like a world-renowned bodybuilding coach. And before him, the interview I had before him, I had Leah Denny, who was a women's champion bodybuilder. And we had discussed bodybuilding as a fetish. And she actually has a really good corporate job. She works for some kind of pharmaceutical company, so she doesn't get involved with that. She had offers, she doesn't get involved with that. So she couldn't really enlighten me much on it. She said, I know girls get offers, but I really just ignore it, and I don't know much about it. But I spoke to King Kamali about it, and one of his really, really good friends when he was competing was an elite woman bodybuilder, and every morning they would do cardio together. And I guess whatever, I don't know, but and every morning, and this was back in like the late 90s, early 2000s, and she always had this big Adidas bag with her. No matter, she wouldn't put in the locker, she held it on. She always had the Adidas bag. And finally one day he said to her, what's with the Adidas bag? And she goes, well, open it. And he opens it up, and it's cash, a load of cash. And he goes, what'd you do, rob a bank? And she goes, no, I belong to this secret website where the fetish is women bodybuilders. And guys pay me to basically choke them out, kick them in the balls, body slam them, wrestle them, and they pay her. They were at the time they were paying her like $500 an hour to do this, and she was making bank off this. And I'm listening to him going, I have never wanted to be kicked in the balls in my life. I was kicked in the balls once, and it was the worst experience of my life. And it was in the middle of a fist fight when I was a kid. But yeah, like you said, I guess there is a do you think it's opened more now because of the internet?
Oh, absolutely.
Okay, so
because it's just, everything is just so accessible. I think that one of the big drivers right now and moving forward in the industry is the personal connection that fans can establish with a star. So before the internet, you know, people bought their porn went to the video store, got a VHS or a DVD.
Right.
They went to bought nudie magazines, and that was the extent. They might go to a convention and meet a girl, but that was about it. So now with the internet, it's all about the personal connection. And so just like you were mentioning, your friend is meeting with fans and having these sessions where she kicks the shit out of them. I mean, there's a lot of that going on online. You know, girls do private Skype shows. There's OnlyFans. There's ways for fans to reach out, text, call, Skype, whatever, with their favorite adult star, you know, always for a price, but that's the game right now.
Okay. Well, that leads me to two different questions. We'll just stick with the fetish thing. What was the strangest fetish that you ever witnessed, not necessarily took part in, but something that maybe a friend or a coworker or somebody actually took part in? Or if you want to discuss your own experience, that's fine.
Strangest, I mean, I'm not really a judgmental person, so like whatever gets your rocks off, like have at it. I don't really care. You know, it's just interesting to me, again, that people have a fetish for watching girls chew gum and blow bubbles.
That's strange.
I just think that that's just like, wow, how is that a sexual stimulant for somebody? I don't know.
I have no idea.
I did one bondage site where I was submissive. My personality is I'm not submissive at all. So it was like a one and done thing because I guess I'm not really good in that role.
That's all right.
I just wanted to kick somebody's ass. But so there's all sorts of crazy stuff. I shot for kink.com, and they have literally this old army warehouse in San Francisco that has dungeons, and it's legit stuff. And they actually have people that come in and do the setup of the scene. So if the scene is where I'm supposed to be tying somebody up or I'm getting tied up, they actually have professional people that come in and do that and set the scene and then roll once they're in position. I see. So I think that to me, the heavy bondage stuff, like tired nuts in a sling, stretch them, bite them, smack them, like that's all crazy stuff to me.
Yeah. You know, I'm a blue collar guy. I'm a sewer worker in New York. So when we see something funny, it goes around the job site, right? You know, it goes around the plant, the sewer and whatnot. So we saw this one that was actually hilarious. And I don't know who the porn star was. I don't know who the porn girl was, but she had on boxing gloves. And this guy was just bending over and she was punching him in the nuts as hard as she can. And we were rolling. I mean, hysterical, because she started hitting it like a speed bag. It was, before it got to like, there are 15 plants in New York City, sewer plants, right? I think it got to 3 of them. And there's like 60 guys in each plant. The other question that it brought me to is, I mean, like you said, the DVD, when I was a kid, when I was in 18, 19 years old, when I grew up in New York City. So me and a friend used to go to this place in Brooklyn on 3rd Avenue, and it was just Triple X Warehouse. That's what it was called, Triple X Warehouse. And they had all kinds of DVDs and all kinds of stuff. And we used to just go there and buy DVDs and so on and so forth. I haven't paid for porn, and I don't know anybody who's paid for porn in years. So how does the porn industry now make money that porn is so free on the internet?
Well, I mean, it's exactly what I was saying. It's all about the personal connection now.
No, I mean you as a person, I understand,
Yeah.
right? But how does the individual I understand, but how does like Brazzers or Bang Bros or the top one? Because I mean, you could go on, find your favorite girl in that little clip that they show, the free clip, and then just go Google her, or and you don't have to pay a dime. I mean, how do they make money nowadays?
So every time you're clicking on those, there's advertising money that's happening behind the scenes. So
Really?
somebody's getting 5 cents for every click or 10 cents every time that clip is watched.
Oh.
So if you see my stuff on Pornhub, I'm getting paid for that.
Oh, I didn't know that. Okay, that's interesting. All right, I guess you got to change with the times, right? And that's
Absolutely.
what. Yeah, I can't. I wonder if that was a difficult transition when the internet started, or it wasn't, or it was something that okay, we have to learn how to make money now. Nobody's buying DVDs. Kind of like the transition from in the 70s or the 80s rather, when they went from triple X theaters to VHS.
Yeah.
It's like, how do we make this transition now, right? Nobody's going to movie theaters anymore. We have to jump to well, there's always somebody with listen, if it was up to me, we'd still be on a horse and buggy. Okay. I'm no good with technology. But there are plenty of guys out there that are really good and spot on. Like, I have one girl and one guy that edits all my stuff. I wouldn't know where to begin. And I just pay them to do it.
Well,
so good. I'm sorry.
Just to wrap up that piece about it, again, it just goes back to the porn that's being produced now by independent girls. A lot of times there are special requests, custom videos that fans are paying for them to shoot that content.
Really? Okay.
Yeah.
Well, I guess there's a lot of lonely men out there. Wow. Okay. All right. Yeah, it brings a whole different definition to addiction to porn, doesn't it? Wow, because you think of addiction to porn like the guy that comes home from work and the first thing he does, but no, apparently it goes a lot deeper, doesn't it?
Yes.
Okay.
They're really reaching out and discovering new paths. So hey, I'm all for it. Go at it, boys.
Well, of course, that's how you make a living. And you're right. I mean, as long as it's not hurting anybody and it's not getting in the way of your life. I mean, if you quit your job and you're staying home and watching porn all day, it's a problem, right? I mean, but if you're looking at your phone before you go to bed or while you're in the bathroom taking a dump, then who gives a shit?
Literally.
Yeah, literally. Yeah. So, if you don't mind me asking, how long have you been in the industry now?
So what's that? 38, 40, 50. So 12 years.
Oh, okay. In the 12 years, what do you think the best things were about the industry? What was the best? I mean, obviously, besides the money you make, but what is the best thing about the industry?
To me, it's the flexibility of my schedule now. So previously, in corporate America, you keep the hours that most companies keep. As a business owner, you work harder, longer hours, you have more stress, you have more responsibility. Now, my life, I mean, I was on the beach this afternoon.
That's fantastic.
It's Friday afternoon, most people are at work, but I can go to the beach anytime I want. I can travel. I can work as much as I want or as little as I want. And to me, that has made my life so incredibly different.
Sure. That's fantastic. I wish I had that schedule, but no, from 7 to 3, I'm in the sewer.
Yeah, that's exactly it. So
yeah, absolutely.
To me, that's the biggest perk of the business. To me, it's not even it's like a business, but it's not really work. I don't ever feel like I'm working. And people have always said, well, how long do you think you're going to do it? And for me, it's like when I'm not having fun anymore, because that's really why I got into it in the first place.
Sure. Absolutely. Now, talk to me about the drug culture and party culture behind the scenes, because there seems to be this understanding that there is a huge party culture, drug culture. It probably comes from that movie. What was that movie with Burt Reynolds and Mark Wahlberg? Boogie Nights.
Boogie Nights.
It probably comes from that because this is this is basically understanding around everybody that if you're a porno girl, you are partying, and if you're a guy, you're partying, and there's drugs and there's booze and so on and so forth, and nightclubs and dancing and all this crap. Is that accurate?
I would say for some people it probably is.
Mm-hmm.
You can't come to set and be cracked out. I mean, you're going to get fired. You'll get thrown off set. They won't film anybody who's using any kind of substance whatsoever.
Have you ever witnessed that? So that actually happened to somebody?
No.
Yeah. No. Okay.
Now, I think it's probably the younger girls that get caught up in that whole scene.
Mm-hmm.
And I occasionally shoot with younger girls, but probably not so much. So I don't really see a whole lot of that.
So you yourself never got caught up in the drug culture or the party culture, or you have?
Not because of the industry.
Oh, just because you
it's because I love to party.
You did it for shits and giggles. Oh, okay, good. But has it ever become a problem? Is it something that you had to like, okay, I need to stay away for a little while, this is going to be too much, or you knew how to balance it?
Yeah, I don't really have an addictive kind of personality.
Okay.
I'm a hardcore, like in the gym 6 days a week. Like I'm not going to let anything
Me too.
get in my way of that. Like to me, that's more of a drug than anything. And if that's not on track for me, I'm not happy. So yeah, no.
Okay.
Just not in my nature.
All right. Before I get into it, I have a couple of questions that are really interesting, but you've been in it for 12 years. How has it changed in the last 12 years? I mean, let me clear it up for you, because there's something specific that I want to know, which, regular knock around guys talk about this stuff all the time, right? But we don't know what the hell we're talking about. Like before, from the 90s and beyond, 60s, 70s, 80s, 90s, you always had the same 5 guys in every movie. I mean, you literally every movie had the same 5 guys. And I would assume it's because they were reliable, right? But now that's not the case anymore. Now there's all different walks of life from all over the place. How much that is attributed to Viagra, Cialis, the trimix injection, so on and so forth? Or is it just a fucking phenomenon that guys could get it up on call today?
I've always said to guys, like, my hat goes off to you. Like, I don't know how they do it, because when you're shooting a big production, there's a lot of stops and starts.
Yeah.
And so you're hard, you're not hard, you're hard, you're not hard, you're hard, you're not like, how do you do that? Like, that's a special skill for sure. Yeah. There are definitely people that need a little Viagra to continue on. And there are dudes that are just like freaks of fucking nature. Right.
I don't know if you ever saw this documentary. It's a really good documentary. I think it was made in 2006 or 7, and it's called Bigger, Faster, Stronger. The documentary is basically about steroid abuse, and is it harmful, and is it cheating, and so on and so forth. And the guy who did the documentary was so good about it. He actually went into other facets of other worlds. And because the average person, their opinion is using steroids in sports or any kind of athletic hobby of bodybuilding, powerlifting is cheating, right? Football playing, that's cheating. But then he went into other realms of the world, and like he talked to fighter pilots, and they take like pills to keep them alert and speed. And they asked him if that was cheating, and he's like, no, of course not. It's not cheating to them. He asked musicians, is it cheating if you take beta blockers, so to calm them down when they're in a big symphony, and she said, of course, no. And then, of course, he went on a porn set, and he was talking to a guy. As the guy was injecting the trimix into him, he said, is this cheating? And he goes, there's not much morals in porn to begin with, so no, it's not cheating. So since that documentary, I had assumed, and correct me if I'm wrong, that because there's such a tremendous more amount of guys in the industry is because of the Viagra, the Cialis, the injection, so on and so forth. Because when I was a kid, and it was 1995, and I was 19 years old, and I bought 10 DVDs, all 5 guys are in the same 10 DVDs. I mean, you can name them. They were all the same. Ron Jeremy, you know, there's Silverman, whatever the hell his name is. I mean, they were all, every one of them. They were just, you know, am I accurate, or was it like a contract thing?
I think that because porn has become so kind of almost mainstream now, I think that guys are more interested in becoming part of the industry. So I think that has a lot to do with it.
Okay.
Like, I can't tell you the number of emails and requests that I get for guys to shoot with me. So I don't know if it really has anything to do with the fact that, you know, they can perform better because of drugs. I think that there's a lot of really horny fucking dudes out there who want to get as much pussy as possible.
Right.
And perhaps they also think that there's some huge payoff for them. But typically in the industry, you know, guys don't make a big amount of money.
No, yeah, of course, because girls are the ones that are in demand. And I would assume that it's a lot easier for women to break into the industry than men. Am I accurate, or I am not accurate?
Yes, that's accurate.
So how would a man who wanted to do adult entertainment, how would he break into the industry? It's not like, you know, like you said, it's not like, you know, nobody's looking at a really handsome guy and going, hey, you want to do porn? You know, they see a beautiful woman and they go, hey, I have an offer for you. What do you think?
I think that people are definitely on the lookout for a handsome guy. He's got a great body. He's got a huge cock. They're always looking for that. Absolutely. Because they need a superstar. Okay. How does the average Joe get into the industry? Like, I'm not a dude, so I don't really know. I never really investigated how they did it.
I'm gonna have to get a dude to come on. Then I'm gonna have to get a guy.
Yeah, I mean, just like anybody, I think it's who you know. You meet somebody, they get in, they introduce you to a producer or an agency. The agency decides that they're going to sign you up, and then you go from there. I think it's super hard to break into the industry, regardless whether you're female or male, without knowing somebody.
Okay. I just lost my train of thought. I was going to ask you a really good question, and I told you, okay, I got it. Can you explain the difference between what's referred to as, I think it's referred to as gonzo porn, as opposed to having a contract with one of the larger internet companies?
Okay, so, I mean, gonzo is a style of pornography. It's not so much whether a big company shoots it or not, because there's a lot of big companies like Bang Bros, they shoot gonzo style. And gonzo's basically, there's really no script. There's no like setup. It's just a whole bunch of people having sex.
Okay.
Yeah.
And I'm on the understanding that it's pretty much, you get paid for doing that particular scene, and that's about it. Is that accurate?
For a bigger company, I mean, I shoot a lot of gonzo. That's my preference, actually.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm not really into like the whole big production. I'm there to have sex, and if the camera happens to get me while I'm doing it, like, great. Yeah.
But is it the payout? Is it the same? Like I said, do you get paid per scene, or is it like a contract thing, or is there an actual difference, or there really is no difference?
Yeah, so they're contract stars.
Okay.
Who get paid and are contracted for X amount of films. And then there are just individuals that shoot for a whole bunch of different companies and get paid per scene, but everybody gets paid per scene at the end of the day.
Oh, I see. Okay. So it's whether you're other contract or not.
Right.
Somebody
if
like
you're
this,
under contract, you just can't shoot for any other company.
Okay. And what do you prefer?
I prefer to shoot my own stuff.
I figured that. That's probably a lot more lucrative nowadays, I would assume, right?
Absolutely. Yes.
Okay. All right. So we'll get rid of. So I have 2 really interesting questions. Have you ever had to work with a guy that you absolutely fucking hated? You just hated his guts. Did you ever have to like just suck it up? And it's like, is it kind of like me where I'm like, well, I got to go into the shit today. The sewer's back up. I got to do what I got to do. Do you look at it like that, or is it something else?
Um, I never really had to shoot with somebody that I hated.
Mm-hmm.
I would say that I definitely have shot with people that I didn't feel a whole lot of chemistry with.
Okay.
And so like you just have to be professional and you have to deliver your scene. And actually, I mean, I could think of two specific times and where I just really was kind of not really into it, but did my job. And fans actually love those scenes. Like I get huge amounts of response of how great those scenes were.
Really?
And I'm like, really?
What do you think? What do you think it is? You think your acting skills is just wonderful?
I have no idea. I try not to act, honestly. So no.
Okay.
And I've always been one of those people that if there was something that had to be said, it would be said with my face, that sort of thing.
Okay.
So
Okay.
yeah, the fact that I pulled that off is kind of actually interesting to me.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah.
Have you ever quit in the middle of it and be like, I can't do this?
No.
Something just totally whatever it was, like the guy smelled really bad, or he just never, no, not once. You were just like,
no, I have been on set where like a dude, we were shooting a foursome scene, and I'm not going to name names, but we were shooting a foursome scene, and the other girl, I guess, wasn't really as fresh as she could have been, and the dude was like, stop the scene. Like I felt awful for her, but I mean, stuff like that happens. Thankfully, It hasn't happened to me. Yeah.
Good. All right. What about the opposite? Have you ever worked with a guy and you actually fell in love with him, or at least caught feelings for him?
No, you know what? I love to have sex, and I definitely have like hit somebody up after the cameras were off, for sure.
Okay.
I never caught feelings for anybody. I'm married. I'm super happily married. My husband and I have a great relationship. We've been together for 23 years. So at the end of the day, I'm always going to go home to him. But like, yeah, I mean, for sure, definitely. You get some good dick. You get some good dick, and you want more.
Well, what about? Have you ever got a little jealous? Have you ever saw somebody that you liked, like you got good dick, and then the next day or the next week you saw him working with somebody else, and you're like, kind of rubbed you the wrong way?
I'm not a jealous person.
No,
I
not
love
at all.
to share, like, come on, everybody, let's get together.
Is the sex, you just numb to it emotionally?
I wouldn't say numb to it. Okay. Because for me, I love to kiss, and kissing is such an emotional connection with somebody.
Right.
And when you have really good chemistry with somebody, like all of that passion comes through on film, for sure.
Yeah, you are a special person though, because I think, well, maybe because you are wired differently, because usually girls, especially when it's passionate and kissing and the sex is tremendous, is usually a strong emotional attachment. I mean, my wife didn't start breaking my chops for, I literally gave in. I was like, fine, I'll marry you.
I'm sure that there are girls like that. The friends that I know in the industry that I'm really tight with, we're all kind of the same way. And we've had conversations about it. Like, we are just the type of people that can separate the sex from the emotions in the relationship. Sex is sex. Go home and do your husband or whatever, and that's completely different.
Okay. Mm-hmm. Has somebody ever approached you, whether it was a fan or somebody that works for a major studio or website, and approached you and asked you to do something, and you absolutely were like, no way, that's a hard no. There's no way I'm doing that on camera?
Right. So we have something in the industry called a no list.
Okay.
And a no list is no, I won't shoot with this particular person. Mm-hmm. Or a no list can be, I won't do this on camera.
Okay.
Right.
And is it an actual list? You actually tell the person ahead of time and go, these are the things I'm not going to do?
Absolutely.
Okay. Can I ask you what the things are you won't do?
I won't do double pussy and I won't do double anal.
Okay. I thought it was going to be a little bit hard, more than that. I thought it was going to be some kind of element of some strange fetish where you were like, nope.
Well, I mean, I don't, for me, because I don't do a lot of submissive stuff, like don't slap me in the face because I will knock your ass out.
Okay. Okay.
No scat, no pee, no, like I'm out on all that.
Right. That's a
Yeah.
hard no. No animals or anything like that.
Yeah.
That's a hard no. Okay. But that's strange. The double anal and the double vag. Like, I don't think I've even seen that. Or maybe I just haven't searched it.
Yeah, it's out there. And I think because a lot of my films, I shoot with like really big guys, that that's something that's been always requested, like to get that in there. And
big, you mean as far as their genitalia, or big as size, or big as popularity?
They have huge dicks.
Okay.
Double digits in the double digit department.
Jesus
right?
Christ.
So that's I guess that's my fetish, right?
Okay.
So
one of the guys at work, I told him that I was going to interview. One of the guys at work said, ask her. I'm like, I'm not going to ask her that. That's ridiculous. So I'm glad you said it. Because I'll tell him his name is Frank. I was like, Frank, she inadvertently answered your question.
Yes, I love huge dicks.
Okay.
I like them hung like a horse.
All right. Sucks for the average guy.
Well, I mean, it doesn't discount the average guy.
Oh, okay.
So that's a question I actually get asked a lot is, do you always have to have somebody who has a huge dick? And I've been with guys who have really big dicks, but just have no clue what to do with them. And so that's like super disappointing. So I'd rather have somebody who was average and could pleasure me.
I understand.
As opposed to just, something to fill the hole.
Yeah, there is, there is a common belief among regular people, I guess you could say, I don't know, the average person, that sex to an adult entertainer is basically a job. And it is more of a job and not really the pleasure that you see is more acting. But
okay,
for you, go ahead.
So yes, I'm sorry to interrupt you.
Oh, go ahead.
There definitely are people like that, for sure. But for me personally, no.
So you have to enjoy it.
Yes.
Okay. And there are times you haven't enjoyed it and you just would not repeat with that
Correct.
person. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. And is that a decision that you get to make? Like if you work with a guy and you're just not feeling him, if you will, and then you're called to work with a guy, that same guy, that's a decision that you can make when you go, no, I'm not working with him. Forget it.
Yep. Put him on your no list.
Okay. So you put him on your no. So there's a lot of leeway then.
Well, I mean,
there's no Burt Reynolds director going, tough shit, you got to do this. I paid you and we're doing this.
Right.
That's not how it works.
You own your body.
Okay.
You have control over who gets access to it, who doesn't. And no amount of money is, to me, worthwhile if that's not something that I want.
Have you ever worked, and you don't have to name names, or you don't have to, have you ever worked with a studio or internet where they didn't care about how you felt about the person, where it was like, no, I need you to do this scene and that's it?
I never came across anybody that made a big deal if I didn't want to work with a particular guy. It's definitely going to limit you. If you start creating a list that's this long, then you're not going to be working as much, but that's up to you as an individual. I see. Okay. All right.
Maybe I just come from the blue collar world too much because, the seniors, if you tell the supervisor, no, I'm not going in there, they look at you like, maybe you're not going in there. This is your job. Get your ass in there. And you just go in, right? And I guess that's the mentality that I imply in every industry. But at the same time, I guess, and I don't think this is something offensive. I think this is just real. At the same time, you probably have to treat women differently. You probably can't kind of push them in that direction. You probably have to be like, okay, well, she's a woman and I have to kind of handle her a little different than I would a guy, right? Is that accurate?
I don't think it really has anything to do with the fact that it's a female. I think if a guy said, I don't want to work with a girl, then they wouldn't force him or to work with him. Again, we're not full-time employees of these companies.
I see.
We're contractors, so we can choose what work we want to do. We're not obligated to do anything or fulfill our job responsibilities because we're not employees.
Okay, so I have one final question, and then I'm gonna let you go. And it's pretty much like a two-part question. Have you done anything that you regretted? Have you done anything
in life or
no, in the industry? I mean, we all have regrets, but in the industry, have you ever done something where you were like, I shouldn't have did that. I shouldn't have did that scene, or I shouldn't have did that, or so on and so forth. Do you have any regrets regarding the industry?
I don't. I think it has to do with the fact that I entered the industry a little bit more mature than most girls. So if maybe I started in the industry when I was 18 or 19, I might have some regrets, but I've always been, I'm a business person. I've always been in control of what I do. I always get a clear description of what's going to happen before it all goes down. I always want to know what I'm committing to before I get in there. So I think that my age has really served me well with regards to a lot of things in the industry.
Yeah, you just become a lot more mature. It's 100%. I mean, same thing with me. I mean, I've done things in the past, obviously not the industry. At 19, I did things and I'm just like, why would I do that? Well, I think back now and I go, have you noticed that? Have you ever seen other girls regret doing things that they shouldn't have? Been like, oh, I shouldn't have done that. I shouldn't have done that scene. I shouldn't have did what they asked me to do.
Yeah. I don't really am involved with a lot of the younger girls. So I'm sure there are girls out there regretting things, but I think there are some people that I think regret getting in the industry to begin with. They are young, they're impressionable, they want to be famous. Everybody now wants to be famous. And I know that there are girls that have gotten in the industry and were like, oh shit, I wish I didn't do that because now my father knows or my mother knows, or that would probably be the extent of regrets that I'm aware of.
I'm just going to tell you an experience that I had actually, and then I'll let you go. So it's really funny that because it pertains to what you just said, actually. Every year there's a New York City Expo, but it's actually held in Jersey. So a few years back, obviously before COVID, me and my wife went. And
you're talking about the convention?
Yeah. And I saw some of the I'll just keep it real. I don't know any of the girls that have little boobs because the only porn I watch is big boobs. And my wife, after we got married, she got breast implants because this is what she wanted and I wanted and whatever. So anyway, I see some of the younger girls that I've recognized and they were having so much fun at the convention. It looked like they were having a lot of fun. Like there were three types of people that I noticed went to the expo or the convention, and it was couples, right? Because they probably enjoy it and want to spruce up their sex life like me and my wife did, right? Then there were the young guys that came from the bar and they're like, yeah, let's go. It was like, 3, 4, 5 of them. They're like, and they're all drunk and like, yeah, let's go to the expo. Come on, whatever. And then there was that one guy. Well, there's a bunch of them, but there's this one type of guy that kind of is like a porn fanatic. And he always has that same look. He kind of looks like a nerdy guy, out of shape, older. And he knows what movie Alexis Golden did and what year and what scene and who you did it with. And he could break it down for you, so on and so forth. Anyway, I got off topic, but I noticed that the girls that were younger that just broke into the industry or which is doing it for a couple of years and they're in their 20s, they were having a blast, especially with the younger guys. They would go on their shoulders and take pictures, and they, three of them would hold her up and they would take pictures and blah, blah, blah. And they would do the stick their ass out and they'll, yeah, and then all this. And then I approached a woman who did MILF porn. She was a little older, probably in her 40s or 50s. And the energy was completely different. And I approached her and I said, "Oh, can I get a picture?" And she was talking to somebody and she just looked at me and said, "Give me 1 second. I'll be right with you." So I stood there, waited maybe 2 minutes. She turned around. She goes, "You want a picture?" She goes, "Yeah." She goes, and she said it was like, "Okay, $10 for the picture or $20 for the picture with my boobs out." And I was like, "No, you could keep your boobs on. You keep your boobs in. $10." She goes, "Okay, thank you very much." And that was it. It was literally like she was just doing her job and then very mature and professional. And that was it. Is that accurate? Is that how you are? Or is that you're like the young girl having a blast?
Probably somewhere in the middle.
Okay.
Yeah.
Does that description seem accurate as opposed to the girls that are younger and the girls that are older?
Yeah, I think that the girls that are younger are probably drunk.
yeah, absolutely. Yeah, high. Yeah, they're ripping lines.
They're
Yeah,
definitely partying. The
right,
girls are
right.
definitely partying.
Okay.
And okay, and so there are girls there that are younger who need the money. They need the $5. They
Good
need
point.
the $2.
Yeah, very good point.
Really working it for that money.
Okay.
And so the older women who are a little bit more business savvy don't really need the $5.
That's a very good point. Yeah,
and
that's a very
so
good
maybe
point.
some of that comes across.
Okay.
I like to meet fans. I like to talk to them and have
Right.
more than a thank you kind of exchange. Like, here's your picture, thank you, goodbye.
Okay.
So yeah, I would say I'm kind of like in the middle somewhere. I might be drinking some wine. I might be feeling good.
Gotcha. Okay. All right. Well, listen, it's been a pleasure. This is probably one of my favorite interviews. I got to say, this is definitely up there. I can't wait till this one comes out. It's been really interesting and informative.
I really appreciate it. You're super to talk to.
Oh, thank you very much. And I'm gonna stop recording, but hang out because I want to talk to you after. Okay. Now I'm not gonna keep you much, 2 minutes. But I really appreciate it. It was fantastic, and it was fantastic having you on. And I'm honored that you did it. Really.
Thanks so much. I appreciate it. I hope all the fans like it too.
I hope so too. All right.